You know that fragrance you wear? The one you feel is so you? Well, what if I told you that choice wasn't nearly as personal as you think? What if that specific scent was actually designed for you years before you even knew you wanted it?
Seriously, just take a look at that bottle on your dresser. Why'd you pick it? Was it a memory, a certain feeling you were chasing, or was it something else? We're going to pull back the curtain and see how your most personal choice might actually be part of a huge, incredibly well-designed plan.
Maybe it's one of these. You know, Lancome's La Vie est Belle, that super distinct, sweet smell. Or YSL's Libre, with that bold, fresh vibe. Maybe it's Prada's clean, kind of mysterious paradox. Or the earthy, grounded feeling you get from an Aesop fragrance. Look, these aren't just random smells. They're cultural landmarks. And they're all part of a massive system.
And that's the scale of the system we're talking about, a 15.6 billion euro industry, an industry that has a huge stake in shaping how an entire generation wants to smell. And trust me, when there's that much money on the line, almost nothing is left to chance. Okay, let's get into it.
So who's pulling the strings here? Let's call them the scent engineers. And I'm not talking about perfumers mixing things in a lab. No. We're talking about cultural strategists, people who engineer scents not just to smell good, but to mean something incredibly specific. And this really gets to the uncomfortable question at the heart of all of this. It totally challenges our whole idea of self-expression, right? Because if you think you're choosing a scent that reflects your unique personality, what does it mean if that personality was a target demographic all along?
This right here is the big shift. The old way of thinking was pretty simple. A fragrance becomes a hit because, well, it smells great and it's new. But the new reality? It's way more strategic. Today, a fragrance succeeds because it lines up perfectly with a very specific, very desirable identity. It's less about the notes in the bottle and so much more about the narrative around it.
So what you get is a totally new definition of a hit fragrance. It's not about being the newest, most groundbreaking smell anymore. A hit is a scent that helps you tell a consistent story about yourself, to yourself. It basically becomes a tool for building and holding on to your own personal identity.
Okay, so if the goal is to align with an identity, how do these brands actually pull it off? Well, the research shows there's a modern playbook, a whole new set of rules for making a fragrance a success.
And here they are, the 4 big pillars. First up, sustainability is just the price of entry now. Think refillable bottles. That's a given. Second, tech is used to make you feel like the choice is deeply personal. Third, the fragrance is sold as a tool for your emotional wellness. And finally, you got to tap into Gen Z cultural codes, like, say, gender fluidity.
Let's just zoom in on that personalization thing for a second. This isn't just some silly quiz on a website, okay? We're talking about L'Oreal investing in AI recommendation systems, deep scent science, and even neurosignal testing. The whole point is to make choosing a fragrance feel less like shopping and more like a data-driven journey of self-discovery.
And all of that connects directly to the wellness part. The focus has totally shifted. It's not about fragrance as a signal to others, wearing something to impress people. Now it's a tool for you, for your own internal mood. It's about finding a scent that makes you feel calm or focused or energized.
So let's look at how a giant company like L'Oreal actually puts this whole framework into practice. How they create, basically a scent for every possible version of the modern self.
Okay, check out this breakdown. It's just fascinating. Each of these brands isn't fighting for the same customer. No, they are offering completely different pre-packaged identities. Lancôme, that's all about reassurance, tradition, and happiness. YSL is selling autonomy and power, this idea of freedom. Prada, that's for the intellectual who's comfortable with contradiction. And Aesop offers this quiet, deep meaning, framing scent as a kind of mental hygiene. So what's really happening here is the entire portfolio is just a set of pre-designed answers to that huge question we all ask, who am I? By choosing the brand, you're really choosing a version of yourself. And it's a brilliant strategy, because the brands can all exist together without stepping on each other's toes.
And this brings us right back to the beginning. Now that we've seen the playbook, we can start to look at our own choices a little differently. If brands are literally offering us identities to choose from, what does that really mean for us?
This quote from the research just nails it. The motivation for buying a fragrance has changed. It's not so much about what other people think anymore. It's about feeling coherent on the inside. The scent is a tool to help you feel like you on any given day. And brands are designing their products specifically for that internal conversation you're having.
So here's the bottom line.
The most powerful luxury brands out there today, they aren't just selling you scented alcohol in a fancy bottle. They are scripting identities. They give you the story, the values, and the sensory cues for a version of yourself that you can literally buy into.
Which leaves us with one last kind of troubling thought. As all of this, technology, wellness, culture, it all keeps blending together, the question isn't just about what smell you like, it's about the menu of identities that you're being offered. So who are you allowed to be, and who exactly designed that choice?